The next gun that we're going to talk about is not a live fire gun. It's a gun for force on force, and it's by a company called Unit Solutions. Force on force training is extremely important. There are some other companies that have been around for a while. We know, and we're very familiar with Simunition, UTM, and then even the airsoft community trying to bridge the gap. Everything when we're dealing with those systems has pros and cons. And what we're really looking for is reliability within the system, and durability is extremely important, meaning I don't want to delicately have to worry about placing a gun down on the ground because I might end up breaking it, or I don't want to spend more time maintenance in my system because that means it's taken away from the scenario. So the bottom line is everything is a trade-off. Unit Solutions, I think, has created a great hybrid in regards to this is their system right here. It is a dedicated platform. It's safe, semi, and auto. Now the way the lower works, specifically the pins are in a slightly different place. And the reason why is they send this gun directly to your house. It doesn't go to an FFL. And the reason why the pins are in a slightly different place is so that some idiot won't stick a upper on it and then convert his gun over to full auto. But this is a safe, semi, and full auto. They sell this in different barrel lengths, 14.5, 10.5, a couple different configurations. You can get on their website and check them out. The next thing that we're going to talk about is what exactly is being fired out of this gun. So this gun shoots a 8mm ball. And the reason why I'm bringing this portion up right now is for a lot of us that have played around with different types, both metal and plastic airsoft rifles before, and some of the weaponry, is that it's a reliability issue, meaning I gotta be delicate in the way I handle a lot of those firearms because I don't want them to break. This gun by Unit Solutions is built by Lewis Machine and Tool. We mostly know them as a real M4 gun builder known as LMT. So this gun is built by a real gun manufacturer. How do I treat this gun? How have we treated it over the last few months? Like a real gun. It doesn't matter whether I drop it, kick it, it falls, somebody kicks it away. During a scenario, it falls down a set of stairs. It doesn't matter. It gets treated like a real gun. Reliability. Reliability has been outstanding. One of the things that we don't get with this particular system is rounds stacking up in the barrel. And then of course that just sidetracks the whole situation. So we don't want that to happen. Now, as far as the rounds themselves and how they come, this is known as the T-Pack. This T-Pack holds a preloaded 30, okay? So it's 30 8mm balls. They're biodegradable. They're running, dependent upon climate, 350 to 400 feet per second. The cyclic rate of this gun is between 700 and 750 in regards to rate of fire. So it's pretty damn close to a traditional M4 when you're running it on auto. So again, what does this go in? This goes in a magazine. This is a military grade aluminum magazine. Can it stand a hit? Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can drop this thing on a concrete like we have. Outside's not gonna hurt it. This thing can take a real beating. Now, I had said that the rounds themselves, once they get loaded in here, they end up sticking out the front right there, and they get loaded into the gun. These get thrown away as soon as you're done. You just pull these out of the magazine and you throw the other one or a new pack in the magazine. So you're gonna wanna buy a few magazines. One of the things that I like about the system is it keeps it pretty real. It keeps you down to 30 rounds, which means a user has to be consolidating magazines. They need to be thinking about, of course, emergency reloads, and if they have time for it, a tactical reload. My point being is they don't have a 100-round magazine. They have to, before they go into the next door, the next room, whatever it is, they have to be thinking about their normal loadout. So that's, I think, a huge benefit to the system as well. Now, can the system run a little faster? You would have to talk to Unit Solutions in regards to manipulating it. Say you were doing a lot of approaches or more external work. How would you go about doing that to increase that speed? That's something that you would have to talk with them. We found that the 350 to 400 feet per second doing anything internal or pretty long hallways was enough to get somebody to give up really quickly. So that's a quick snapshot of the loading system. I'll go into some other details here in the next segment. You're going to have to look at what is best for you. And what I mean by that is, for me, I'm looking at durability. Is it going to last? Reliability? Is it going to work? And then the next thing that I'm going to look at is cost. And I think with Unit Solutions, the cost savings is going to come over a period of time. We know that their projectiles per round is 30 to 40 cents, and it's just going to depend on the volume you buy. Well, why is that a big deal? Because you're going to shoot a lot of these. And when I'm looking at the other end of the spectrum of over 70 cents per round, that's based on the GSA scale or schedule, man, I can buy a lot more rounds, or at least have the cost savings of whatever I do buy is only 30 cents as compared to 70 cents. So again, just some different things that you guys are going to have to take a look at to see if it's suited for you. My biggest thing is the durability, reliability, and then of course down the road as far as how much are the rounds going to cost every time I call them up. They have marking rounds. I'm not a big fan of marking rounds. I never was. It's nice that, you know, especially if you have your own force-on-force center, it doesn't look like a paintball arena in there. So I always ran the clears to begin with, or non-marking rounds. So you have both choices with Unit Solutions. It's just a matter of what you want. So it has a little weird angle. This clips in. Push this down, and now I'm ready to rock and roll.
Don't touch that gun! Don't touch that gun! Stay on the ground! Stay on the ground!
One of the things that I always struggle with is just trying to pass some information and some application, right? Like, where could you possibly, or how could you possibly use this gun? We know that most military law enforcement are the ones that get the most amount of force-on-force training. And a lot of times it's because some of the weaponry is restricted towards the civilian community. They've gotten better over the years of bridging that gap. There are some civilian companies out there and trainers that do force-on-force with civilians, which is great. I think one of the things that I like is how simple this platform is, right? They mail it to your house, they send you the CO2, the magazines, all that stuff, and then you can go do the drills that you want to go do out on your property, okay? As long as you're not going to scare the shit out of somebody. You get a fenced-in yard, you're probably going to be okay. But you can do your drills. You can do body shots, head shots, groin shots. You can do positional work, so you can be doing stuff that's down on the ground. You can be working on urban prone, stuff that you can't even do in a local gun range, because most local gun ranges would shit their pants if all of a sudden you hit the floor and went supine. I know I would. So this allows you to do some things and practice some drills that you may not always be able to get to the range based on your schedule. And even if you do get to the range, you're not going to be allowed to do them. You have multiple target, you have movement stuff that you can do, which I think is really important. And depending upon how your property is set up or how your house is set up, you could also do some, put some targets in certain spots. The only thing I would caution you on is, even if you're running cardboard, if you're internal, this round is going to go through that and then probably stick into the drywall. So you would need some form of backer, like quote unquote bullet trap with it. But it allows you to go do that and practice. I kind of did a quick scenario just in my barn. I know the perspective that I have of my cameras trying to show you both me and the targetry. So it probably looks like I'm not utilizing my tractor well, but in reality, I'm about that far off covering concealment. And of course, I know my layout, you don't, but the way my barn is, I've got an unknown side over there. So I'm trying to put some distance in between me and anybody that might be over on that side. So we all handle things slightly different. The point of doing that is just to give you an idea of what you could be doing on your own property, in your own property, at your own facilities, things like that, and the application and the importance to it. Another aspect that we kind of touched on, whenever I get a new shooter, typically in the past, I just hand them a 22. And I just let them fire one round out of it. I don't even put the mag in it, just load one round, pull the mag out in case they drop it because they're so damn scared. But I usually do it suppressed, so it's, it's pretty benign. They see me shoot it, I do that with rifles as well. I never go above 9mm and 5.56 for usually a few evolutions and stuff like that. And when I mean evolutions, I mean days. So the nice thing about this is you can start working on firearm safety immediately. You can start doing drills immediately. If you get flagged by somebody, you can nail that shit right in the beginning, and it's not done with a real firearm. I really do feel for the people always ask me, when you look at it, you train a lot of people, you work with a lot of people, your courses are high intensity, that must be a real challenge. I think the real challenge are all the people that are the NRA style of instructors, and those that are dealing with, so they may not be NRA, but those that are dealing with a new shooter that literally buys a gun for the first time, comes out, and this is what they got. That, I think, is a hard job. I think that's the hardest job on the planet. So this just allows that little bit of flexibility. I mean, between this Unit Solutions weapon and Glock does the new airsoft pistol, man, what a great combination for a new shooter to work on drills, to build somebody's safety and confidence along with it. So I just think it's a great option and something to consider and think about. And I think the guys out of Unit Solutions hit a home run.